Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us on a fresh edition of Morning Spring today on Western Spring Television. A brand new day, a brand new week, and of course, a brand new us as well. Thank God for life. This is where the conversation that truly matters, happen. And of course, that's what we're going to do today. We start by looking at the headlines from various papers, and then we get talking about these issues. We are live right now on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV and also on channel 190 on StarTimes DTT. Femi Ojo is my name, and Daniel is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful Monday morning.
It is. And we are rearing to go.
Yeah, and it's also cool. It's quite a cold Monday morning. Right. I'm feeling a little bit cold. I hope I'm not the only one feeling cold.
Actually, you are.
Then there's, I should be concerned.
You are fundamentally cold.
I rarely, I hardly feel cold. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning to all our distinguished viewers from all over the world. I mean, those viewing us from South Africa, from the UK, from the US. Good morning to you. It's morning here in Nigeria. So whatever time it is over there, good morning and wonderful day to you. Welcome to Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, where we say it as it is. And just like Femi said, we bring you the newspaper headlines. Then, of course, we go into, critical matters. We go into critical discussions around us. And that's exactly what we do here. You don't want to miss any part of the program. I am Emeka Daniel. Thank you once again for joining us this morning. It promises to be a wonderful week. A lot happened last week. It was an eventful week, talking about the past week. And towards the end of the week, something striking happened when Israel actually struck Iran. It came as a surprise to some. The U.S. Currently in talks with Iran for their nuclear program, but Israel felt this was the right time for them to strike. So they struck, killing the head of the IRGC, that's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. What's his name again? Hossein Salami, his deputy, and of course, about 9 top nuclear scientists in Iran. It came as a surprise to many in Tehran. Tehran has not witnessed any form of war of violence since around 1980, for decades. So it came as a surprise to the civilians in Tehran. But again, Israel claims they have the right to defend themselves because Iran is actually an existential threat to them. Iran doesn't hide this. They always say it's death to America, death to Israel. And they've been, going about their uranium enrichment. Israel claims that Iran has actually installed about 2,000 advanced, centrifuges to enrich uranium for production of nuclear weapons. And they went ahead and struck Iran, killing the IRGC guard and so many other people right there. And of course, there's been retaliation, back and forth, firing and all that. But again, we do hope it comes to, and then for the sake of the innocent citizens there, when 2 elephants like that fight, sometimes it is the grass. Most times it is the grass that gets hurt. Absolutely.
Exactly. So much to really talk about. And quickly, before we hit the headlines, on Friday, towards the afternoon or thereabout, judgment was given, virtual judgment. Or judgment was given virtually, I think it's better that way, by Justice Obiora, in the suit filed by the APC at the attempt to release their case, that was struck off in January. So they tried to release that case, but my Lord, in his wisdom and that of his other justices, unanimously dismissed rather, that's the language of that suit, by the APC. And so you understand, because this is political in nature, is about the local government administration in Osun State to really know who's in charge. You remember the February 10 election that was given, judgment that was given by the Court of Appeal in Akure, and both parties have been laying claim, interpreting it to be, to favor them. The APC has, been in the council to say their mandate has been returned, they are the rightful owners. The PDP, are saying it is theirs because the place was vacant. So election was held and it produced winners, all of them of the PDP, but the governor told them to stay back to avoid the issue. Since then, the local government workers have been home, the local government administration have been grounded substantially. Now, with this court judgment that was given, the ruling that was given on Friday, You expect the conundrum to start again. The PDP are saying, oh, that has put the nail in the coffin of the APC to say, you guys, you are not ab initio, you are not even supposed to be there. The APC are saying that judgment has nothing
to do with that. Yeah.
On the subsisting Court of Appeal, February 10 Court of Appeal judgment that was given in Accra. But we get to talk about these as well. Many Nigerians, in fact, many Ocean residents, are tired. They are confused on the matter. And they are even, I have seen many of them pleading to politicians, please don't confuse us. Don't make us pawn in this game that you're playing. And it is what it is. But then we'll have all the time to talk about that today because it is a lot.
Absolutely. And again, why is it that most times when we have court rulings here, it's always subject to multiple interpretations?
Multiple.
We have different
even by
sides.
legal counsel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even the lawyers are interpreting differently. I mean, different sides to say this
depending
is what it means.
On who you ask.
Exactly. So again, I just hope, sometimes I just think and I just hope, can't we just have, clear-cut judgments that
from the lords?
Exactly.
So just say,
this is what it is.
Winner.
Exactly. So that no one will come and interpret. So this is what the judge meant.
But many lawyers will say, my lord, don't do it in the way we unlearned men do it. That's why they call them the learned silk, and then my lord in his learned wisdom, and they had wisdom. But then we get to talk about that again because different from interpretations, or apart from the interpretations, that local government administration in Osun State must work. It must function. That is the reason why it's the third tier of government. It's the closest. After like 3 months or thereabout, they are virtually, if there's any service that have been rendered, it has been, pockets of services, and which that is not the way it should work now. All of those will be discussed. That will be after now. Stay with us. You're welcome back and trusting solidly in what the Daily Trust has for us today. Here we go, 2027. Pushback as Northeast APC endorses Tinubu Shetima. 2027, pushback as Northeast APC endorses Tinubu and Shetima. Right, and top street now. Family loses 23 members. As many killed in Benue attack. That is one killing, or this is one killing too many.
Honestly.
We learned as, close to 100.
Not close to.
While lost.
We understand more than. Some are even saying it might rise to 200. Because in one of the accounts I saw, that person said they've actually counted over 100 bodies.
Again.
No, from that.
No, I mean, when I mean again, it has been serial attacks.
Yeah.
That's
for the past couple of weeks.
Almost every 2 weeks.
Yes.
And there have been lots of, this is on a grand scale.
Just last week, we wanted to treat a case where about 61 were killed. Now, another fresh over 100
2 weeks before that, we had carnages. A week before that, we had carnages that we learned the chief of army staff, at the end of the day, it was a visit.
I said it. I said it when I saw that headline.
And these are some of the things that we are sharing. The governor assured the people of protection, the commissioner of police, the Nigerian military, even the president. And here we are, 23, more than 100 lives have been lost. That's conservatively speaking.
Exactly. Innocent people.
Innocent people. These are the issues. And we've not really seen arrest, mass arrest, prosecution, or, all of these things. In fact, the Vatican waded into it. At the weekend, the Pope spoke on it and said he's reaching in, talked about that. And, that means the world is aware.
Absolutely.
The global world is aware of how unserious we are as a people and how the leadership is failing in protecting his people.
Complete failure. We talked about it here when we discussed the...
And it doesn't have to take a pope to say that. Yeah. We know here in Nigeria.
The June 12 speech by the president, how he tactically avoided that part, the insecurity, not saying much about it, insecurity in Benue and other parts of Nigeria, Benue, Plateau, and the Northeast. Look at what is happening. It simply shows that our leaders have failed. And they're not talking about it.
It's all out.
All they care about is politics, who gets in 2027, It's quite unfortunate. I mean, it's
Now,
a shame on us as a people not being able to protect our own
for
citizens.
these particular headlines, family loses 23 members as many killed in Benue attack. You don't expect those people to be a happy people.
You know, Femi,
there is no way you can preach patriotism to that particular family.
What are security agencies doing there? You know, I talked about it the other day, that no one is resigning, no one is getting sacked. They have their pot bellies and their fat paychecks.
Everybody
Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. They went on a visit there the other day. You know, I said when they said they were relocating, I said, no, this headline is mischievous. It's just a working visit.
Well, it might not be the fault of the press to have done that. Possibly that was the communique that they had. If actually the Nigerian military, for example, now, I don't know if that's the case, you roll it out that the high and mighty, the super guys, the top bosses will be relocating. The press will run with that until they get there. And I would say that it's not relocation, it's just a visit. That's just it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the press, maybe that was the feeler that they got. In fact, almost all the newspapers had that, because there was an information that even, not just the chief of army staff, the top brass,
the top guys, exactly,
all of them will be going with him.
Now they did that, nothing came out of
less than 2 weeks.
That same week, they were still attacks in Benue.
Now at the weekend,
now we have a massacre. This one is what can only be described as a total annihilation. That's what people are saying. Many
Nigerians will be asking if there is any place that state of emergency should be declared. Isn't Benue, ready for that now? Isn't Benue the kind of killings that we are seeing? Obviously, the guys, they have lost.
Benue is long overdue for that.
That's what I'm saying. Now, the grounds that are needed for, a state of emergency, how longer can the federal government or the state government wait? The governor has lost it as far as insecurity is concerned. Did he even ever have it in the first place? All we have been seeing him, 2 weeks ago, it was between the commissioner of police and the governor having, argument about the figures.
Yeah.
Last week, it was about the religious organizations and the governor and in all of this. Today now, the people have not been helped. Money will continue. People will be buried, maybe massively. 23 members of a particular family have died. So tomorrow, what's next? Am I saying tomorrow?
Now, in the evening. We hear, now we are hearing that some special forces have been deployed. Come on, what's happening?
We wait to see.
What's happening?
We don't want to be the purview of bad news, but it's just the reality.
Yeah, and we have to call them out. We have to call them out. Our leaders are failing. Mr. President is failing in his responsibility. Now, the leaders, the security agencies are failing because you're not protecting the territorial integrity of Nigeria and the lives of people.
Exactly. Now, Dangote began nationwide petrol and diesel distribution August 15. If it is, people from this end will say, if the news that we are getting is anything to go by, then that should sound like a good news. For Dangote to begin nationwide petrol, not just tankers coming to the company, but they supplying the people. We hope it will help. Petrol and diesel distribution August 15, and farmers export Flay Agric Ministries call for prayers and fasting. Did you see that?
Yeah, why not? You're asking people to fast and pray when they are being killed.
Because Nigeria needs, the agricultural sector needs divine intervention.
No. We have people who are in charge of security in Nigeria, okay? And they are being paid for it. And you are asking people to fast and come on. Yeah, I always say it. I'm a Christian. I believe in God.
Yeah.
When you leave your responsibilities for God, I mean, that's irresponsible on our part as people. Asking people to fast and pray.
And that is where, in Nigeria, especially responsibilities are right. When it has to do with God, we take it up. When it has to do with us, we leave it to God. That's just the way we do it. Farmers, expert Flay Agric Ministries call for prayers and fasting. I think whoever has brought this and whatever sanction and endorsement it gets or it got before it has been cancelled, I think this is just an offense that will make somebody to be sacked. What exactly are you people smoking up there? What exactly are you doing? And nothing has happened. Everybody,
nothing. That's what I'm saying. No one is resigning. No one is losing their jobs.
If push come to shove, one junior officer will be thrown under the bus. That's all. It's just to say he didn't get clearance. Whoever signed that particular thing will say, the minister never signed this and all of those things. Well, it shows how unserious we are as a people. And I'm sure God somewhere will be looking at us like this and say, what's wrong with these people?
You know, I've said this over again. Where is the place of intelligence, military intelligence? I've said it here that military intelligence is failing. Some security experts disagreed with me, but I'm saying it again. Military intelligence is failing.
Well, the people that will disagree with you are the people Nigeria. From the intelligence community.
Woefully, yeah.
You know, the last time we spoke to a former deputy director of the DSS who said it's not about intelligence, it's about the action that is taken after such an intelligence. Because there are some things that the intelligence community, now we didn't brief for them, will do. There are some intelligence that they will provide. And then the other people will have to act on it. And that was the point of
the
man
said,
that
he made it look like he said they are politicizing it. Yeah.
Now, when it's time for you to act and you are not acting, so who is to blame? The Nigerians will be the one to suffer. But that will be all from the Daily Trust for today.
Anyway, from the Daily Trust newspaper, we go straight to the front page of The Nation newspaper this morning. Special forces deployed to battle terrorists in Benue. Special forces deployed to battle terrorists in Benue. You find a story on page 2 with riders. President orders crackdown on criminals. 12 Viper attack jets to boost NAF's assets. 12 Viper attack jets to boost Nigerian Air Force assets. Youths protest in Makurdi over killings. Then finally, we have Pope Leo XIV prays for victims. Talking about the massacre in Benue over the weekend. Over 100 killed. You know, and most of them, in one account I saw, most of them are actually IDPs, internally displaced people. They were sleeping in there. You know, it happened in the night, in the middle of the night. They put petrol, they doused the houses with petrol and set them on fire. So some of them were burnt alive. Lots of them were burnt alive. Then some were attacked, some were hacked to death. I mean, it was a massacre, a massacre. One official described it as annihilation, and that's exactly what it is. And this took place for over 2 hours. Without any help. They didn't get any help. Just imagine that in a sovereign state in Nigeria, the terrorists had their day. They had a field day. No one came to rescue these people in Benue. So quite unfortunate. You know, sometimes when we report this, some people don't take it serious because it hasn't affected them. But I really feel the pain. Last week, I was close to tears when I saw the stories. I felt the pain genuinely. But I'm afraid our leaders are not feeling the pain just the way most Nigerians are feeling, and that's just the truth. Otherwise, something decisive should have been done about the insecurity in Benue State. Away from the headline, I'm moving on to other stories, still on the front page of The Nation newspaper this morning. Credit Corps targets all working-class Nigerians. Credit Corps targets all working-class Nigerians. Inflation shrinks for second consecutive month. You find that story on page 3. Inflation shrinks for second consecutive month. The question is, by how much? You might want to find out by reading up that story on page 3 of The Nation newspaper. And away from that, Trump vetoes Israel's plots against Iran's supreme leader. Trump vetoes Israel's plot against Iran's supreme leader. You find that story on page 6. From what happened just before we started the newspaper review, when I mentioned how Israel actually struck Iran, it's quite clear this time. It's as if Benjamin Netanyahu, as Israel's prime minister, is quite interested in changing the regime in Iran this time. That's his goal, because this is not just, because he said it will last for as long as it takes, right? As many days as it takes. Now, it's quite clear that they're trying to, remove the supreme leader, talking about Ayatollah Ali. And again...
the supreme leader.
Absolutely. So it's a serious one this time. And Israel, they really mean business. And Israel, they've been very tactical about it. We're talking about failure of intelligence here. Look at the level of intelligence for them to conduct some coordinated attacks, striking the RFGC. Before they could do that, they waited, and when they were struck last April, when Iran actually launched an attack on Israel for the first time, attacking Israel for the first time. Before now, they've been using proxies, in Lebanon and Syria to attack, in Palestine to attack Israel. But this time, they went in, sending over 300 missiles at Israel. Now the story has changed because Israel is, retaliating, and they are not, they are not letting down. They really want a change of regime in Iran. Let's see how that goes. And that'll be all from the front page of The Nation newspaper this morning.
All right, from The Nation newspaper, let's have a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune, and it's an abridged version as well. Intrigues, power play as Northeast stakeholders endorse Tinubu Shettima for 2027. Intrigues, power play as Northeast stakeholders endorse Tinubu Shettima for 2027. And, it seems, not that it seems, obviously, this is what matters to the political class right now, having, a solid backup, solid support as far as their political ambition is concerned. And that's what we have been seeing from the parties at the level, even politicians from other parties are showing where their alliance would be as early as 2 years before that election. And this is part of what we are seeing. And the Northeast are saying it is Tinubu Shettima again.
That's exactly the concern, because Tinubu might decide to actually run without Shettima. So Shettima supporters are raising those concerns.
Well, it won't be a unilateral decision. It won't just wake up and say, I don't want Shettima, because there are many things at stake, political calculations. But then it is. I wish this energy, this steel that politicians are inserting into endorsements and reaching out and all of those things is the same energy they put into securing the lives of the people. They won't be talking about some of these carnages that we are seeing. And, you can't wish that this thing come close to their home before they recognize the mess that we are in. But then it's obvious they don't care. Michael Jackson, decades ago, did a song. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. And obviously, many years down the line, the people that are supposed to care, especially in the part of the world, they don't care. Now, Benue crisis. Tinubu directs security chiefs to implement earlier directive. Pope prays for Benue people, says incident a terrible massacre. That is from the Vatican City. The Pope himself, the Papal. Pope prays for Benue people, says incident, and that is given the choice of words that were used by the Pope, terrible massacre. Not just a massacre, a very terrible one. And Tribune reporting that Tinubu has directed security chiefs to implement earlier directive. I don't get to understand. Now, if you have given a directive and it has not been followed, what should follow is action. Absolutely. Why are you telling them that if this headline? Because
is anything to go by, right?
Yeah, because I'm feeling he's the CNC, Commander-in-Chief, has given a directive and it has not been followed, or if it has been followed, it has not been producing result. Then you should act like the CNC. It's like you giving everybody whatever they need to do their work, and they didn't do their work. And it's not just a work that if you don't do it, nothing will happen. You can do it again. Lives have been lost on a daily, on a very terrible scale. How can you lose 100 people in a state and in a country in a day, and nothing has happened? No outrage, no nothing. Everybody is just there. And the moment the people from those villages come out to say we want to protest, then I want to say your intelligence will come up and say, oh, it's a regime, some people wants to tumble and, take over the regime, and they want to remove the governor, or they want to remove the president. All kinds of things will just come up. I said it last week, and I want to say it again. Whatever way it is, it seems we are not ready as a people. Those people that have been killed, and I'm not victim blaming them. It's not just about the Benue people. These same politicians will come back in the next 2 years, and they will still promise them security of lives, roads, potable water, that they have been promising their fathers. And they are not just in Plateau, everywhere. The people.
No. Do you think, seriously, do you think the people...
Or you still see some people, still support them? Because one will say, there are many persons who might say, maybe they don't want them. Maybe somewhere, somehow, their will was subverted.
That's what I was about to say. The people are not so naive. It has gotten to the point that their voices don't really matter anymore.
And we are just fine.
That's the problem.
I can't imagine. Even, they will say, oh, don't make example of our things are peculiar to us. But you could see whatever, any serious nation of the world will not lose 100
in that same Benue, Femi, in that same Benue, if the people rise this morning to protest, you see how they'll clamp down on them.
That's it. And
all of a sudden, you see security agencies. Yeah, you see the police, you see the military.
These are the issues. Do you know, my final take on this, as far as this story is concerned, is how can 100 people die
in one
day in a country
100.
and nothing has happened? Nothing. In the next 2-3 days, we'll stop talking about it. Or the politicians will start their visit again today. Oh, this one has touched down. That one has visited. The chief of army staff, the deputy governor, this one, that one. And you are waiting for where next will be the story. We'll make the headlines.
It's a complete failure.
We are not serious as a government and as a people.
And I think Nigerians are really very patient. I mean, I used to have
the most patient.
back then.
In fact, some would say maybe we have moved from being patient to being docile.
We are too patient, too docile. Yes, that's
as a people. That will be all from the Nigerian Tribune.
Quite unfortunate. And from the Nigerian Tribune, we quickly look at the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, Tinubu-Shettima alliance under fire. Tinubu-Shettima alliance under fire. With the rider, rift deepens in APC over 2027 power formula. National Assembly caucus backs Shettima. Governors split. Still talking about Tinubu-Shettima ticket for 2027. Apparently, that's all they care about at this time, even as lives are being lost in Benue State. As far as the political class is concerned, they just want to get into power in 2027. So some of them will say, well, if people are dying, fine. Let them just do their own politics first. It is quite unfortunate, and we are calling out on them. I am calling out on the leaders to do something decisive about the insecurity in Benue State. How can we be losing lives like this? How do you sleep at night? How do you go to bed? How do you sleep? That's a question. The security agencies, how do you sleep? The commanders, how do you sleep? Chief of Army Staff, how do you sleep? When you see all these stories, when people are being killed, over 100 people killed in Benue, you still get paid. You're still sitting in your office. You're still comfortable. Come on. How do you do that? How on earth do you still feel comfortable? To all the top military commanders, to the governor, to the president, what exactly are you doing? People are being killed every day. Lives are being lost, and you're doing absolutely nothing about it. It just seems as if you are playing politics with the lives of innocent Nigerians. And it is quite unfortunate. You have failed as leaders. You have failed woefully, and you need to own up and take responsibility. Away from that, I'm still on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Dangote launches nationwide fuel distribution amid tanker blockade. Dangote launches nationwide fuel distribution amid tanker blockade. You find that story on page 29. And just below that, Brent bounce. Nigerian crude hits $77 as Israel-Iran tensions boil. Nigerian crude hits $77 that's per barrel as Israel-Iran tensions boil. You find that story on page 33. Now, the crisis, for me, the crisis in Iran right now, now that Israel has struck Iran, it has actually led to, the increase in the price of crude. Definitely, of course, Nigeria is benefiting from it right now. But experts, look at it, look at the bigger picture. This is not looking good. If this crisis lingers, if Iran should start attacking the Straits of Hormuz right there, that is where, because the Straits of Hormuz is bounded by Iran, then of course by other countries, but majorly Iran is very close there, and from there they can move to the Arabian Sea. Majority, about 1/5 of the world's crude passes through the Straits of Hormuz. If Iran should start attacking those places, attacking shipping, it will even become worse than this. Prices of crude will increase further.
Definitely.
Like I said, it's looking good for Nigeria, but it's not looking good globally.
Well, but then when it looks good for Nigeria, we might earn more, but Nigerians get to pay more, because the moment the price of oil soars at the international market, it have a way of affecting us there as well. Exactly. So you have the price increase as well, in which if we are a serious nation, it's not because every nation, especially oil-producing nation, supposed to have a own quota, actually, in which it will sound like a buffer. But you know, the way we run our affairs here, while the thing is shooting up and it's more expensive, and so we can earn more money for consumers here, it's not good news for them. These are some of the issues as well. But then, you know, so much, the question is, I think Peter Tosh or, you know, Bob Marley, one of those two icons, musical icons, say, when shall the world have peace? That's just the thing. Have we ever been in a period that everything, the war is at a zero level? I'm not sure. Maybe we have ever had that. But with what is happening now, countries, you know, being involved in warmongering and all of these things.
And again,
well,
I think we should be careful as human beings. You know, life, I mean, we're just human beings.
Well,
you can't guarantee your next breath.
That's just it.
This same IRGC commander that was killed by Israel, just a day before that, he was threatening to wipe Israel off the map.
That's it.
And just after 24 hours, he was killed. You're just a human being.
It is what it is.
So I think every nation has the right to exist. That's my point. I'm not in support of anyone here, but again, you should not threaten the existence of another nation, of a sovereign state.
Right. And, you know, interestingly, the nation has 2 front pages today.
I was one. I was one that was about to leave out
I had to go
the other one.
I had to recheck if actually it's not still news.
Yeah, the same date,
Actually, it's the same date, and you see the stories there still very current. And one of those front pages had these, or has these, special forces deployed to battle terrorists in Benue. Right. And so much for special forces. Top strip, Credit Corp targets all working class Nigerians. Inflation shrinks for 2nd consecutive month. All right, and the rider to that says improved food supply a factor while we are busy fasting, you know, for improved agricultural sector. That's a big laugh. That's supposed to come with a very serious consequence. Now, Trump vetoes Israel's plot against Iran and Iran's supreme leader. Lord. Now, Iran-bound businessman arrested at Port Harcourt for ingesting 53 wraps of cocaine. You know, the more you apprehend these people, you know, the more it seems, I think the human's mind, there is a way it's wired that when you see that this thing, you could be caught. But then, you know, as we say around here, all die and die. And at the moment you are caught, sometimes the people that have given them those things, right, they deny them. You don't even have access to them. You won't be able to call them. That's just, you can't even see them.
Yeah.
This is something, and then you are left there. And now you are even lucky. They might be lucky if actually they are caught here. So the only thing that they get to do is just to serve time, jail time. Terrible enough. But if actually they are not caught here, the Iran-bound, he's an Iranian man. Let me take it again now. Iran-bound businessman. Iran-bound.
He might
all right, so it might not be an Iranian in Nigeria. But the moment, even if it's in Iran that the person goes to, you are going for the gallows. Your head will be with the guillotine man. You know, these are some of the issues. So who gains?
And some people do it because of the quick money, for God's sake.
Obviously, it's because of the money.
It doesn't make sense.
Do you do it because of humanity?
A Nigerian guy, a Nigerian guy.
Quick money that could end you.
Yeah, a Nigerian guy walked up to me at the airport in Dubai, I mean, some years ago, and he was like, please, can I just help him take something? He said, Yoruba, I don't know how we got to know that I understand. He just walked up to me and said, please, can I quickly help him with this small package to drop in Nigeria?
Package, Guinea.
And I'm like,
if I tell you at the airport, never leave your luggage unmanned.
Exactly, and don't help someone. Just say, please help me add this to your luggage. That's what he was trying to do. Yeah. Just say, Pastor, just help me add this. I mean, it's not
that looks harmless.
Exactly.
You could be in trouble. Actually, there are people that their packages have been tampered with, things put there, and sincerely they don't know.
Absolutely.
But how do you, when you are caught, how will you tell the officers you don't know? They will say that's how they talk.
Nigerians will say you go explain tire. No evidence.
In the words of Burna Boy. Now, President, a rider to that special forces deployed to battle terrorists in Benue story has these. President orders crackdown on criminals. 12 Viper attack jets to boost NAS assets. Youths protest in Makurdi over killings, and Pope Leo XIV prays for victims. I saw the protests in different parts of Makurdi, blocking the major highway, you know, to just drive home their point. I think, the reason why people do that, even though it is unlawful, is the fact that, they need to be heard. They want to be heard. And they know that if they don't do something that will have a national consequence, the people in charge will not know. They might not respond. Yeah. But is it a matter of not knowing? They know.
I mean, not just the
We are in Oshogbo here, and people know.
Not just the highway. I'm sorry to say this. They should go short. Not just, they should go to the government house, their state house of assembly. They should take the protest there. They should shut the place down because their leaders have failed them.
How can they do that?
Why not? They have the right.
And they will not be
elected
accused.
Them. They voted them.
Of public disorder or something, there will always be something.
Over 100 lives lost is in public disorder.
I think they should do whatever is within the law to drive home their demands. Everything and anything necessary within the law.
One of our experts actually called out, was it not Dr. Kachononju, called out the governor the other week and saying that he's not sincere, that he's been hypocritical about this fight against insecurity in Benue State.
And many persons will agree with him to say he's not loud enough. It's not loud enough. People are joining in droves, and it's just a lot. Even though he doesn't have that power, to command the security forces. But when you are concerned, everybody knows. Everybody will hear. You will be sounding like a vuvuzela. Even an APC governor, that's Babangana Zulum, has been very vocal, irrespective of the fact that the vice president, was his predecessor, and of course from his state.
You know what, Femi?
Nothing political about the human lives lost.
Absolutely.
100 again now, more than 100 actually.
Now, come to think of it, Femi, people are being killed every week in Benue State. Just imagine, come to think of it, God forbid, if the entire members of the State House of Assembly were actually wiped out, killed, do you think there will be this calm? Over the past weeks, now we've had hundreds of people. Hundreds of people. No, I'm just saying now, hundreds of people are being killed. Why? But just because some will say they don't really matter, but no life is superior to another.
None.
So if it had happened to the political class,
even the religious,
would they be this calm? That's the question. Would they be this calm?
It should be everybody's business, actually. And that carnage, that disaster doesn't have to come close to home of the people in charge before they will now realize that they have been, disappointing, to say the least. And these are some of the issues as well. People still maintaining their steeze and composure in office. The starched garment and uniform are still there, just vibes and rhetorics and all of these things. And every week, if it's Benue today, who knows where it will be tomorrow? We must be responsible as a people and as a government. We'll take this quick break right here. And when we return, we speak to issues, that legal fireworks, interpretations, confusion in the state about a pressing matter. Stay with us.